After my sister cheated by using my identity for a $515,000 mortgage, I launched Ruthless Revenge, bank investigation, police, and full repayment. I sit at my kitchen table on a Sunday morning, sipping lukewarm coffee while Whiskers, my rescue tabby, purrs against my ankles. The apartment feels especially quiet today, with just the occasional car passing outside my window and the soft ticking of the wall clock my grandmother left me, a cherished luxury in this modest Salem apartment. The phone rings, jarring in the stillness. Sierra Federal Credit Union flashes on the screen, probably another credit card offer. I almost let it go to voicemail, but years of being the responsible one kick in. "Hello, this is Marissa." "Good morning, Miss Lowell," a man's voice says, professionally warm. "This is Thomas Richards from Sierra Federal Credit Union. I'm calling about your mortgage payment." I frown, stirring my coffee absently. "I think you have the wrong number. I don't have a mortgage." A pause. "Is this Marissa Jean Lowell? Date of birth May 12, 1991? The spoon freezes mid-stir. "Yes, that's me. But, social security number ending in 4832? My stomach tightens. How does he know that? "Yes, but I don't have a mortgage. I rent my apartment on Willow Street." Papers rustle on his end. "Our records show you're the primary borrower on a home loan for a property at 1478 Oak Ridge Lane. The payment of $2,780 was due 5 days ago." The room tilts slightly. "That's not possible. I've never purchased a home. The loan originated 3 years ago, Ms. Lowell. The outstanding balance is $515,000. My coffee cup slips from my fingers, splashing across the table. Whiskers darts away as I scramble for a dishcloth. "This has to be a mistake," I say, my voice unnaturally high as brown liquid seeps into my calendar. "I never applied for a loan. I never signed mortgage papers." "I understand your concern, Ms. Lowell." His tone shifts from collection to customer service. "This could potentially be a case of identity theft. You'll need to file a dispute claim right away." Identity theft. The words echo as memories flash through my mind. Credit alerts I dismissed as system errors. A pile of mail from Sierra Federal I tossed aside, thinking they were promotional materials. The unexplained dip in my credit score when I applied for that apartment on Cedar Street last year. "Who?" My voice catches. "Do your records show who else is associated with this loan?" "I'm afraid I can't share that information over the phone, Ms. Lowell. You'll need to visit a branch with proper identification." My fingers clench around the soaked dishcloth. "What's the address?" "The property address again?" He repeats it, and the room goes cold. 1478 Oak Ridge Lane. My sister Tessa's house. The beautiful craftsman with the wraparound porch she and her husband bought 3 years ago. The home she proudly showed me through, room by room, while I admired the hardwood floors and built-in bookshelves. The house I helped her decorate, hanging curtains and arranging furniture over countless weekends. "Are you still there, Ms. Lowell?" "Yes." The word comes out hollow. "What do I need to do?" He outlines the steps: visit a branch, bring identification, request the mortgage documents, file a dispute claim. I write everything down mechanically, my handwriting unrecognizable. After we hang up, I stand in my kitchen, papers scattered across the coffee-stained table. Outside, families walk to Sunday brunches. A neighbor calls to her children. Normal Sunday things while my world collapses around me. I walk to my desk and pull out my meticulously organized file stacks. Tax returns, medical forms, school permission slips. Years of paperwork I signed for my family during Mom's illness, Dad's retirement, Tessa's college applications. My signature flowing across the bottom of each page, familiar as my own reflection. My phone pings with a text from Mom's Sunday dinner at 5. "Tessa has news." I stare at the message, remembering Mom's words when I complained about always being the one to handle paperwork. Marissa doesn't need help. She helps. The family mantra about me, repeated so often it became truth. The floor seems to tilt beneath me. $515,000, my name, my credit, my future. I look at Whiskers, who has returned to weave between my ankles, oblivious to how our life has just shattered. "They stole from me," I whisper, the words strange and foreign on my tongue. For the first time in my life, I don't immediately reach for excuses to protect my family. Instead, I reach for my phone and take photos of everything: the notes from the call, the credit alerts, my signature on legitimate documents, evidence. My hands tremble, but my mind is suddenly terrifyingly clear. The next day, after visiting the bank and collecting documents, the manila envelope from Sierra Federal sits, unopened on my coffee table for 3 hours. Whiskers investigates it twice, losing interest when it doesn't move or offer treats. I stare at it between sips of tea gone cold, my stomach knotting tighter with each passing minute. When I finally slide my finger under the seal, The paper inside feels unusually heavy. Official letterhead, loan numbers, payment schedules, and there, on the final page, my signature. Except it isn't mine. I spread the documents across the table and pull out my own files, birth certificate, passport application, health insurance forms. I line them up side by side, comparing the curves and slopes of handwriting I've practiced since childhood. The forgery is good, frighteningly good. The same slight rightward slant, the distinctive loop in my capital L, even the way my final S trails off. Someone who knows my signature intimately crafted this counterfeit. Someone like Tessa, who watched me sign her college applications, medical consent forms, and tax documents for years. I pull up Tessa's Instagram and scroll back 3 years. There she is, standing proudly on the porch of 1478 Oak Ridge Lane, caption reading, "Dreams do come true. First-time homeowner. Blessed." 98 likes, 17 congratulatory comments, my own among them. So proud of you, sis. Can't wait to help decorate. Below that post, a timeline unfolds. Professional photographs of each room's transformation. Holiday gatherings in the dining room I helped wallpaper. Backyard barbecues on the patio. Dad and I spent weekends laying brick by brick. All built on fraud. My fraud. I keep scrolling until I find what I'm looking for. A photo from 6 months before the house purchase, Tessa and Mom at lunch, wine glasses raised in celebration. The caption reads, "Thanks for always being my backup plan, Mom. Blessed, my backup plan." The phrase triggers a memory. Mom's voice in the hospital when I was 16. After Tessa crashed the car Dad bought her for her birthday. Thank goodness for Marissa's perfect driving record. The insurance covers her as a secondary driver. Secondary driver, backup plan. My phone rings, startling whiskers off the couch. It's Ellie from work. "Hey, you okay? You left early yesterday and canceled your shift today, not like you." I stare at the scattered evidence of betrayal covering my coffee table. Not really. Want company? I can bring coffee. 40 minutes later, Ellie sits beside me on the couch, her dark eyes widening as I explain. Unlike my round-faced, freckled appearance, Ellie is tall with close-cropped silver hair and the direct gaze of someone who spent 30 years teaching high school before retiring to volunteer work. "And you had no idea?" she asks, handing me a tissue I didn't know I needed. I thought the credit alerts were mistakes. My laugh sounds hollow even to my ears. Who suspects their own family of identity theft? She studies the mortgage documents, lingering on the forged signature. This wasn't impulse, Marissa. This was calculated. 3 years, my voice catches. 3 years while I ate ramen to save for a security deposit. 3 years of them inviting me to decorate the house they stole from me. You need to talk to someone who understands this legally. Ellie pulls out her phone. My Uncle Elwood, retired military lawyer. He helps veterans with identity theft cases. I can't afford. First consultation is free. He does it as community service. I stare at the denial letter from Cedar Street Apartments from last year. Application denied due to insufficient credit score. The apartment with the breakfast nook and southern exposure I'd saved for 18 months to afford. What happens to the house, I ask. Depends on what you want to happen, Ellie says, her voice gentle but firm. This isn't just wrong, Marissa. It's criminal. Criminal? The word should feel excessive, dramatic. Instead, it feels precisely right. My phone pings again. Another text from Mom. Don't forget Tessa's housewarming next Sunday. Bringing that spinach dip everyone loves? I set the phone down without responding. On my laptop, I open my email and find the credit monitoring alerts I dismissed as system errors. 5 in the first year after the mortgage appeared. 3 more last year, when Tessa apparently opened a line of credit for home improvements. Another ping. Dad this time. Need help with your taxes this weekend? My taxes, which he's prepared for me since I was 16, giving him access to my social security number, employment history, and financial records year after year. The anger rises slow and steady, like water filling a bathtub. Not the quick flash of irritation I've felt before, but something deeper, more substantial. This anger has weight to its substance. Will you call your uncle? I ask Ellie, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. She nods, already dialing. You're doing the right thing. Outside my window, a family walks by. Parents holding hands, children skipping ahead, normal Sunday things. But inside my apartment, surrounded by evidence of 3 years of calculated betrayal, nothing will ever be normal again. I gather the documents into a new folder labeled Fraud Evidence in bold black marker, the first decision I've made for myself in years. The text arrives Thursday afternoon while I'm cleaning kennels at the shelter, Sunday dinner at 5. Important family news, don't be late. Mom's tone, even through text, carries that familiar command wrapped in sweetness. I stare at the phone, my stomach knotting. 3 days since Mr. Crane helped me file the police report. 3 days of silence from my family after I stopped answering their calls. 3 days of finally sleeping through the night with Justice, my newly adopted shepherd mix, curled against my side. Everything okay? Ellie appears in the doorway, her salt and pepper hair escaping from her bandana. She holds 2 mugs of coffee, extending one toward me. Family dinner summons. I take the mug, inhaling the rich aroma. They want me there Sunday. Ellie leans against the doorframe. Are you going? The question hangs between us. Am I going? Before the mortgage discovery, I wouldn't have considered refusing, but now? Yes. The word surprises me. I need to see their faces when I ask them directly. Ellie nods, no judgment, just understanding. That's why I told her everything first. That and the coffee she silently brought me that morning. I came to work with red-rimmed eyes. Mr. Crane says I need to control the narrative, I say, setting down my mug and returning to scrubbing the kennel floor. If I don't confront them, they'll spin this into me overreacting. $500,000 isn't an overreaction. Ellie's voice hardens. It's fraud. The word still makes me flinch. Fraud. Identity theft. Criminal charges. Family words now. Will you call me after? Ellie asks. I nod, grateful for this unlikely friendship born from betrayal. Promise. Sunday evening, I park 3 houses down from my parents' Tudor-style home, needing those extra moments to steady my breathing. Justice sits in the passenger seat, his watchful eyes never leaving my face. Wait here, buddy. I won't be long. Inside my purse sits a manila folder with copies of everything. The mortgage documents, the credit reports, the police report. Mr. Crane's advice echoes in my head. Don't let them talk over you. Don't accept excuses. This wasn't a mistake, it was a calculated decision. The front door opens before I knock. Mom stands there in her Sunday best, pearl earrings catching the light. You're late, she says, but hugs me anyway. Her familiar perfume, white, shoulders, the same since I was a child, wraps around me. For one treacherous moment, I want to sink into it to believe this is just another family dinner. Then I remember the banker's voice. $515,000. Traffic, I lie. I never lie to my mother. The small rebellion feels strangely liberating. The dining room gleams with the good china and crystal water glasses. Dad carves a roast at the head of the table, and Tessa sits with her husband, Brian, their heads bent over a catalog of some kind. Marissa's here, Mom announces, her voice carrying that undercurrent of finally. Dad glances up with a quick smile. Grab a seat, we're just getting started. Tessa looks up, her perfect smile faltering slightly when our eyes meet. Something flickers there, wariness, before she recovers. Sis, we've missed you this week. Where have you been hiding? I slide into my usual chair, working. The shelter's busy with kitten season. Conversation flows like it always has. Dad talks about his golf game. Mom mentions her garden club drama. Tessa and Brian exchange meaningful glances before announcing they're considering a kitchen renovation for their beautiful craftsman home. The home with my name on the mortgage. We're thinking Italian marble for the countertops, Tessa says, sliding the catalog toward me. What do you think? The white with gold veining or the gray? My fingers curl around my water glass. How much does Italian marble cost these days? Brian chuckles. An arm and a leg, but Tessa deserves the best. She always has gotten the best, I say quietly. The table falls silent. Mom's fork pauses halfway to her mouth. What's that supposed to mean? Dad asks, his carving knife still in hand. I reach for my purse, my heart hammering against my ribs. Does anyone know anything about a mortgage loan in my name for $515,000? The room freezes. No one moves. No one speaks. Then, this again? Mom sighs dramatically. Marissa, we've talked about how you overthink things. We haven't talked about this. I pull out the folder and place it on the table. I have copies of everything. The loan documents, the credit reports, the police report I filed Thursday. Tessa's face drains of color. Dad's knife clatters against his plate. Police report? Mom whispers. It was my name, I say, my voice steady for the first time in family memory, my credit, my future. Tessa recovers first, her expression hardening. You have good credit. I don't. What's the big deal? We make the payments. Except when you don't. That's why the bank called me. My fingers tremble, but my voice remains calm. You stole my identity. We didn't steal anything, Mom interjects. We borrowed your good name to help your sister get started. After all we've done for you. The familiar guilt trip slides off me like water. What exactly have you done for me, besides use me as your backup plan? Dad finally speaks, his voice low. Marissa, be reasonable. This can be handled privately. No need for police. I look at each of their faces. Mom's indignant, Dad's uncomfortable, Tessa's entitled. The people I've spent my life trying to please, the family I rearranged my dreams to support, it's already done. I stand, gathering my folder. The bank's fraud department has been notified. The police are investigating, and I'm not covering for any of you anymore. You can't be serious, Tessa's voice rises. They'll take our house. You mean my house? According to the paperwork. Mom rises, reaching for my arm. Think about what you're doing to this family. For the first time in 34 years, I pull away from her grasp. I am thinking about it. I'm thinking about how easy it was for you to use me. How none of you even considered what this would do to me. I walk toward the door, each step lighter than the last. Marissa, Mom calls. Don't you walk out that door. I turn back one last time. Family asks. They don't steal. Then I walk out into the cool evening air, where Justice waits patiently in my car, his steady presence the only family I need tonight. The knocking starts at 7:30 Tuesday morning. 3 sharp raps that send Justice scurrying under the bed. I know who it is before I open the door. Mom stands in the hallway, her face blotchy from crying. She brushes past me without waiting for an invitation. How could you go to the police? Her voice breaks as she paces my small living room. You've ruined everything. I close the door quietly, feeling strangely calm. Would you like some coffee? Coffee? She stares at me like I've offered her poison. Your sister might lose her house. Your father hasn't slept in days. And you're offering me coffee? I move to the kitchen anyway, filling the kettle. The familiar routine steadies my hands. I didn't cause this situation. It was just paperwork, Marissa. We always handled paperwork as a family. The word paperwork ignites something in my chest. I set the kettle down with deliberate care. $500,000 isn't paperwork, it's fraud. Mom collapses onto my sofa, shoulders hunched. We were going to tell you eventually. Tessa just needed to get on her feet. The bank wouldn't approve her loan with her credit history. So you stole mine? Borrowed, she corrects, not meeting my eyes. Your credit was perfect. You weren't using it. I walk to my desk and retrieve a manila envelope. The bank courier delivered it yesterday. The complete mortgage application with my forged signature on 17 separate pages. This isn't borrowing. I place it on the coffee table between us. This is theft. Mom pushes the envelope away without looking at it. Family helps family, you know that. Family asks, I say, the words coming from some new steel part of me. They don't steal. My phone buzzes for the 12th time this morning. Another text from Tessa. How could you do this to me? I silence it without reading the rest. Your sister has 2 children, Mom says, her voice low and accusatory. Where will they live if they lose the house? The same place I would have lived if the bank had come after me for the payments. The answer surprises me with its simplicity, maybe with their other set of grandparents, the ones with the vacation home in Bend. Mom's mouth tightens. I never raised you to be vindictive. No, you raised me to be reliable. I reach for my wallet and pull out a birthday card yellowed at the edges. Remember this? She takes it reluctantly. Inside, beneath the printed message, Dad's handwriting. Thank you for always being our backup plan. Your father meant that as a compliment. I know. I take the card back, running my thumb over the ink. That's what makes it worse. The kettle whistles. Neither of us moves. Mr. Crane says the bank may press charges. It's out of my hands now. Mom stands, suddenly fierce. That man has no business involving himself in family matters. He's my lawyer. He's filling your head with nonsense. We're your family. We would never hurt you. The laugh that escapes me sounds foreign to my own ears. Tell that to my credit score. Her phone rings, Dad's ringtone. She answers immediately, turning away from me. She won't listen. I know. I'll try. While she talks, I pour a single cup of coffee and add cream. Not for her, for me. When she hangs up, her expression has shifted from anger to calculation. Your father says we can handle this privately. No courts, no police. Tessa will set up a payment plan. Too late. I sip my coffee, the bitter warmth fortifying me. The bank's fraud department has everything. You can withdraw the complaint. I won't. After everything we've done for you, what exactly have you done for me? The question hangs between us, genuine in its curiosity. She blinks, momentarily lost. We're your family, that's not an answer. The silence stretches, broken only by Justice cautiously emerging from the bedroom to press against my leg. You were always so capable, Mom finally says, her voice small. You never seemed to need anything. The truth of this, the painful backward logic of it, settles in my chest. I'd been punished for my competence, exploited for my reliability. I needed to be seen, I say quietly. I needed to be asked, not used. Mom gathers her purse, her movements stiff. I'll tell your father you're not being reasonable. I walk her to the door, Justice trailing protectively at my heels. Before she leaves, Mom turns, her expression crumpling into something that might be genuine remorse. We never thought it would hurt you, she whispers. Your credit was so good. The door closes between us. I stand there, coffee cooling in my hand, understanding washing over me in waves. They hadn't failed to see me. They had seen exactly what they could take. My phone vibrates with a text from Mr. Crane. Bank suspended the mortgage. First victory. Justice nudges my free hand with his nose. I scratch behind his ears, feeling the strange lightness that comes with setting down a burden carried too long. We're going to be okay, I tell him. And for the first time in a week, I believe it. Next week, the animal shelter buzzes with activity around me. Barking dogs, volunteers chattering, the squeak of mop buckets against linoleum. But when Dad walks through the front door, everything else fades away. He stands uncertainly in the lobby, his navy windbreaker zipped despite the warm spring air, a manila envelope clutched in one hand. My stomach knots. I recognize that envelope, bank letterhead. You shouldn't be here, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. He glances at my coworkers. Can we talk somewhere private? I consider refusing but lead him to the small break room instead, closing the door behind us. The windowless space feels immediately smaller with him in it. He places the envelope on the table between us, his wedding ring tapping against the formica. We can handle this privately, he says. No need for courts or police. The fluorescent lights buzz above us. I wait. Your sister will lose everything, Marissa. I run my finger along a coffee ring stain on the table. She already took everything from me. She made a mistake. 3 years of mistakes? With my name on mortgage papers? The words taste bitter. That's not a mistake. That's a plan. He slides the envelope toward me. We've worked out a settlement offer. Your mother and I will cover half the debt. Tessa will make payments directly to you for the rest. Why now? Because you got caught? His eyes drop to his hands. The same hands that taught me to ride a bike, that signed my school permission slips, that waved away my concerns when I mentioned the credit alerts last year. This will destroy your mother's health, he says softly. Her blood pressure is through the roof. The doctor says, stop. My palm slams against the table. A coffee mug jumps, splashing cold liquid onto my work shirt. You don't get to use Mom's health to manipulate me. Not anymore. The familiar urge to comfort him rises within me, a lifetime habit of smoothing things over, making everyone else comfortable at my expense. But Mr. Crane's words echo in my mind. Their comfort has always come at your cost. Dad pulls out papers from the envelope. Just sign these and drop the police report. We'll handle the rest. I laugh, a sharp, unfamiliar sound. You want me to sign more papers? That's what started this whole mess. We're family. His voice cracks on the word. Family asks. They don't steal. He pushes the settlement papers toward me again. The signature line waits at the bottom, blank and accusing. For a moment, I see all the other papers I've signed over the years. Medical forms during Mom's gallbladder surgery, financial aid applications for Tessa's college, insurance papers when Dad retired early. My phone vibrates in my pocket. A text from Mr. Crane, remember your worth. I stand, leaving the papers untouched. I've arranged a meeting, tomorrow at 3 at Mr. Crane's office. Bring Mom and Tessa. A lawyer? That's unnecessary. We can work this out ourselves. We tried that approach for 34 years. I gather the settlement papers and hand them back to him. It ends now. He takes the papers, his fingers trembling slightly. Your mother can't handle a legal battle. Then she shouldn't have started one. The shelter's intercom crackles to life, calling for assistance with a new rescue arrival. Dad flinches at the noise. I have to go, I say. 3 o'clock tomorrow. Don't be late. I turn to leave, but his voice stops me. I never signed anything. His words come out small, defensive. I just didn't ask questions. I face him one last time. That's worse. The next day, I arrive at Mr. Crane's office 30 minutes early. The retired military lawyer's space is modest but impeccable. Framed commendations on the walls, a worn leather chair behind his desk, a coffee pot that never seems to empty. They'll try to make you doubt yourself, he says, organizing the evidence folders with methodical precision. They'll appeal to your compassion, your sense of duty. I know, your entire identity has been built around being their safety net. He looks up, his eyes sharp behind wire-rimmed glasses. Are you prepared for them to fall? Before I can answer, the receptionist buzzes. The Lowell family is here. They file in silently, Mom clutching her purse strap, Dad looking anywhere but at me, Tessa, with red-rimmed eyes and defiant posture. No one sits until Mr. Crane gestures to the chairs opposite his desk. "Thank you for coming," he says, formal and detached. "Miss Lola's asked me to present the non-negotiable terms for moving forward." Tessa's mouth opens to interrupt, but Mr. Crane continues without pause. First item, full admission of identity theft and fraudulent representation. He places a document on the desk, my credit report, marked with red highlighter showing 3 years of unauthorized activity. Next to it, the forged mortgage application with my name scrawled at the bottom, nothing like my actual signature. Second item, complete restitution of all funds and damages. The bank's fraud determination letter appears next, followed by the police report I filed. Third item, professional family counseling before any relationship can be restored. Mom begins to cry, quiet tears tracking through her makeup. Dad places his hand over hers. "This is overkill," Tessa says, her voice tight. "We made a mistake, we're trying to fix it." "A mistake is accidental," I say, speaking for the first time. "This was deliberate and calculated and cruel." I pull out my own evidence, birthday cards from the last 3 years, each signed with variations of, "Thank you for always being our backup plan." The phrase that once seemed like a compliment now reveals its true meaning. "You didn't just steal my identity," I continue, my voice growing stronger with each word. "You stole my future, my peace of mind, my trust, Mr. Crane." Hands each of them a document outlining the terms. The home must be sold, the debt repaid in full, the legal consequences accepted. "You have 24 hours to decide," he says. "After that, we proceed with all legal remedies available." Mom's hand reaches across the table toward mine. "Marissa, please." I stand, gathering my folder. 24 hours. As I walk out, I hear Tessa's angry sob, Dad's heavy sigh, Mom's whispered, "What have we done?" For the first time in my life, I don't turn back to comfort them. A year later, the pottery wheel spins beneath my fingertips, clay slick and responsive. I center the lump with practiced pressure, thumbs creating the first depression as water drips between my fingers. Transformation begins. "Beautiful centering," comments Eleanor, the silver-haired instructor whose hands bear 60 years of clay work. "You've got a natural feel for it." I don't deflect her praise like I once would have.
"Thank you. It's becoming meditative."
Sunlight streams through the studio's west windows, catching dust motes and turning them golden. A year has passed since that Sunday morning phone call shattered everything I thought I knew about family. Justice, my 3-legged shepherd, the shelter's longest resident until I signed the adoption papers, snores softly in the corner. The studio owner lets him stay during weekend workshops, another small kindness in my reconstructed life. "Going to glaze the reclamation collection today?" Eleanor asks, adjusting a student's hand position across the room. I nod, hands steady as I pull the walls of what will become a mug. The gallery wants them next week. The reclamation collection, 7 pieces, mugs, bowls, a teapot, each bearing the fingerprint swirl I've made my signature. Each piece started broken, shards of abandoned pottery I gathered and crushed, then mixed into fresh clay. Destruction and renewal combined. My phone buzzes. Mom's weekly text, "Coffee Tuesday?" I'll accept, as I have for the past 3 months. Our conversations remain careful, circling authenticity without quite landing. She brings photos from old family albums. I bring boundaries, reinforced by my therapist's quiet encouragement. Dad still won't speak to me. Some relationships can't survive truth. Tessa serves her community service hours at the county animal control office. Irony not lost on either of us when she called, voice small with shame, asking if the shelter needed volunteers. I referred her elsewhere. My domain remains mine. Her restitution payments arrive monthly, on time. "Marissa?" A voice pulls me back. Daria, a shelter volunteer, stands hesitantly at my wheel. "Sorry to interrupt your class, but can we talk afterward?" I recognize the familiar strain in her expression, the look of someone carrying secrets too heavy to bear alone. "Family stuff?" I ask gently. Her eyes widen. "How did you know?" "Experience." I wipe clay from my hands. "I'll meet you at Riverside Cafe in an hour." After she leaves, I return to my creation, hands finding their rhythm. The clay responds to pressure, expanding upward, taking form. I shape the lip with decisive movements. No wobble, no uncertainty. Next week, someone will purchase this mug, run their fingers along its surface, feel the subtle texture of reclaimed materials beneath the glaze. They'll never know its origin story, how destruction became creation. But I'll know. I glance at Justice, who lifts his head at my attention, tail thumping against the floorboards. "Almost finished," I tell him, smoothing the mug's handle with my thumb. When the piece sits completed before me, I add my maker's mark to the bottom, a small, perfect boundary that declares, "This is mine, this is what I made." This stands on its own.